Hi everyone, I'm Store the Orc, and I'm going to be bringing you a brand new series called Decide Design, where we look at everything game design related.
So, as you know, on Decide Design, we've been looking at level designs recently, and in this video I'm going to show you another method on how you can draw your very own industry standard level design. So we began this project by looking at concept art from Overwatch. So this level design is going to be suitable for an Overwatch map, and with that in mind, we know that the genre is an FPS game. We also know that the art style is stylized, so we want to have lots of soft curved lines in there, and we want to have lots of complementary shape language and symmetrical and asymmetrical parts of the map. But really we want to give it that soft, curved feeling, and we want to have multiple routes for the players to engage one another, battle for pickups and battle for map space, so that they can work on moving the payload from one location to another. I have rotational spawns here, so I have spawns on opposite ends of the map. I also have payload locations on opposite ends of the map, so we have that symmetry in the pathing, so that we know that it's roughly equal distance for the teams to travel. But we also have that mid-play space and lanes either side, just to give the players space to engage in combat, fight over pickups, fight for health packs and recharge abilities if they need to withdraw from combat. Now, this is a very quick demonstration of this method because obviously I have to fit it in the length of this video, but this method involves drawing up the level design in 3 constituent parts, and as we draw each piece we get an idea or a development for the rest of the map. I do draw the key for this level at the very end, but just so you can see as we're going through why there are different colours and what they mean. So I've used grey to indicate that there is either glass or some form of breakable mesh. I've used gold for the golden path, obviously, so the routes that the payloads travel and the rotational flow of the map. And I've used green to indicate health pickups. So I've kept it nice and simple with this level design because, as you can see, it's going to be slightly larger scale, stitching together 3 larger constituent pieces of the map in order to formulate an entire map. The real question is, have you noticed the mistake yet? Well, obviously doing 3 different parts to the level, I'm using 3 different canvases, and I haven't duplicated the layer here, which is going to cause a few issues when it comes to putting the pieces together. I will show you how to resolve those issues, but just bear in mind to keep on top of your logistics and your technical management when you're using a software like this. If you're using tracing paper, you have less of an issue, although rubbing it out might cause crinkles and tears, which can present its own difficulties. As you can see for the centre area, it's a large portion of the map, but since either lane, either side of it are exterior pieces to the map, I wanted this centre piece to be based in an interior. So I've used grey here to indicate that there are quite a lot of breakable meshes and that cover can be destroyed, used, adapted, but this is really, again, going back to Mary Flanagan's critical play, the kind of void of the map which gives its own interior space for combat to occur. Having these destructible meshes allows for unique gameplay to occur and potentially scenarios that won't happen in other parts of the map where it can't get as chaotic, because there is more playable space, more room for the player to breathe, more forms of cover, and generally longer lines of sight so that the players can engage in longer duration battles, whereas the interior is very destructible, very chaotic, and really emphasizes that action genre gameplay that requires fast hand-eye coordination and quick reflexes. As I begin the third section, I just want to point out to you that design is all about trying things. So start with a random line, start with a wall, start with a curve, start wherever feels natural to you, and bear in mind the principles of the genre you're making, bear in mind the principles of the game that you're designing the level for, but experiment. But definitely experiment, because it's worth trying to see if you can create the next revolutionary design fundamental, or if you come across something that works, or if you come across something that is too tight, too claustrophobic. But then if that's a horror game, maybe that's not such a bad thing. So really experiment when you're designing. You never get it right first time, and you're not expected to. You're supposed to try new things, and you're supposed to see what works. And I think that is one of the core principles of a good designer, is to test and try and experiment and refine and do it over and over and over again. And it's something I practice even to this day, and something you should start practicing even in your first level design. Right here we're thinking about that symmetry and asymmetry in terms of shape language for the map, but I'm also thinking the left hand side has a very kind of modern art sculpture gallery feel to it. The center has that chaotic, destructible, modernism look essentially. And what could contrast with that? So far we have a lot of kind of cool metals and glass, we have a lot of rounded shape language, but a lot of diagonal shape language as well. So now I want to go really natural, really naturistic, and focus on a park-like area where things feel a bit more outside, feel a bit more naturey, feel refreshing as part of the environment. So I'm just going to let this play out. This is just me grabbing all three constituent parts, piecing them together and cleaning them up a little bit. So right here, I'm just labeling the spawn points and the payload locations, and then I'm going to outline the paths for their movement and travel through the map and how they utilize all 3 lanes. Right now I'm just adding in some health pickups at some key points in the map. I really wanted to make sure that these did have symmetrical placement in order to ensure where there was combat competing for the health pickups, that there could be a diverse range of gameplay, but also a fair amount of competition to make sure that the map is balanced in terms of competing for health pickups, and to make sure that one side isn't too overpowered in terms of having access to them. Then, when considering access to different health pickups, I started to think about access between the different lanes of the map. And I wanted to create a chokehold point where we had a small narrow corridor that could create a chokehold, but could also create unique lines of sight and could give players almost secretive access to different parts of the map. So there is the opportunity to enter the void here, move into the right lane of the map, but also potentially look for flanking opportunities to either side, either through the car park on the payload A side of the map, or through the back door to the road at top B side. Finally, we finished up by adding a simple key that was color coded to the same routines on the map. And overall, I'm really happy with this level design. Okay, so this is an initial level design. It's not something that's been refined, it's not something that's been blocked out or play tested and then adjusted, but for an initial level design, I think I've created a good idea using design fundamentals to have level flow, make sure that it's balanced, there's a sense of progression, but also replayability in its circulation and the amount of routes and pathways the player can take. And I think it provides a lot of different opportunity for verticality and access across lanes, so that all the different champions' abilities can be used in their unique way. So I'm really happy with how this design has turned out. Like I said, this is a really quick demonstration. It took me about an hour to complete this level design, but I think it's important that when you're starting out, you do complete really quick and easy level designs just to see what the results look like, and just to practice essentially and experiment with how you want your design style to come across. And this is another practical approach to that. And so in the next video we're going to cover one more, then we're going to start thinking about picking a level design to start blocking out an engine and working on over a few episodes. As usual, stay safe and keep designing.